What's up, guys? Welcome to VHV Engines, and I'm sure lots of you are going to be happy to know that we are now going to be discussing H22 stuff. And I I did some more research on the shit and on these different topics that people talk about, and I decided there is quite a bit of stuff that I could have mentioned that I haven't gone over already, outside of just the basic, what can this fucking thing handle power-wise. So we're gonna do like a mini series, and it's looking like now. I'm looking at it was gonna be 3 parts, but maybe 4. I'm not gonna tell you all the topics on them just yet, but I think that this is gonna satisfy a lot of y'all's fucking questions on what these things are capable of doing, and I think the biggest thing being the FRM sleeves, and that's what we're gonna talk about right now today. And honestly, guys. From what I'm doing is researching the people I talk to that I know who have experience with building these, where I don't, is that it's kind of, I would say, borderline inconclusive from what I can come up with my decision for the FRM sleeves. Why? Because there's several companies out there who say different things, and people all over the fucking internet who don't agree, and it's not enough. I would say not enough hands-on experience with boosts and high power forged aftermarket internals and stuff for people that I know, and of course I haven't built one yet. So with that being said, we'll talk about the FRM sleeves. Supposedly they're not compatible with aftermarket forged stuff. Now, there was a guy who he tracked his build. He put his build up on there. And he decided to say, fuck that, I'm not going to worry about what the FRM sleeves or people talk about. He talked to JE. He bought JE pistons. JE, he supposedly talked to himself, and they said, as long as you use these Wiseco piston rings that we'll give you with our pistons, you won't have any problems with the excessive wear on the skirts and on the cylinder walls. So he got that shit. He put it together. I think he ran it for like 5,000 miles. And he took off the head, I think, to do valve seals or whatnot, and he saw, scoring and shit in the cylinders. Now, the problem here with this one is that one seemed to be the most tracked version of somebody who actually built this and tested it and then took it back apart for inspection. Now, initially when he fucking took the head off, he just stated in the forum that it did fuck things up now. But then later on he posted a whole bunch of pictures and said it's not originally as bad as I thought it was. After I cleaned it, I got a better look at it. So the problem is with like with a lot of these forums is the pictures or whatever secondary site that it was on, it broke. It's shut down or whatever, so the pictures are unable to see. So I couldn't see the damage that was there to get a good judge whether it was just running that way, whether it's just normal wear, or whether it was something that was a premature failure because it just ain't working the way JE claims. Now, with that being said, JE still claims that those pistons with those rings can be run with that block without any issue with the FRM sleeves. And then that brings me to the next thing, which unfortunately I say is still kind of inconclusive, is that Maul makes a piston that a lot of other people have said, and Maul themselves claim, are compatible with the FRM sleeves, that you don't have that kind of wear. Now, the reason why I say that's a little inconclusive is because I've seen some pictures of what the Maul pistons look like in those blocks after they've been run, and it's still the same kind of wear that you would see if you run the JE pistons, like I saw from earlier. That it looks like the cylinders were side loaded, and it's just premature wear marks on on either side of the skirt. Now, what I could say is that the fact that the FRM sleeve blocks, they're obviously designed differently than the normal block is, and you don't have the hone marks in the FRM sleeves that you would have in your regular cast iron. So with that being said, when you're putting a forged piston in there and the expansion rate's a little different, waiting for it to heat up and all that shit, and under the load of boost, maybe that's just a normal wear factor. But the problem is with seeing that, I didn't really, there wasn't any follow-up with it to see if it was burning oil and all that shit. But, through my research on that shit too, regardless of whether you were to boosted or not, or even normal wear and tear on the H22, once you get to a certain mileage, when you start getting that high mileage range on the H, it starts consuming oil anyways. So there's a good chance that that wear that you would see with the mall pistons or whatnot is just, it's normal, that's normal wear. But if that's the case, if that's normal wear with those pistons that are said to be compatible, then I think JE's claim is, could be legit when they say that as long as you use those Wiseco rings, it'll have the same kind of lifespan that it would if it was stock. So the thing is with that, guys, is like if you're gonna decide to keep your H22 block or H23 or whatever block that you use that happens to be FRM, which is fiber reinforced metal, then you are dealing with a block that doesn't follow the normal criteria that you would be used to, and the wear just may be different. And I guess guys could just have to keep doing your research, but I guess I can kind of see why you guys are pushing me to do it, because the fucking guys out there, of you that are watching this channel, that are smart enough to go out there and do this thing on your own, you couldn't find any conclusive answers yourself. So with that being said, I can't declare whether or not I would say that it's a good thing to go or not. And what I did on the extra sides of research with talking to people that I know who have dealt with FRM sleeves before is I spoke to a good friend of mine who's done a couple F22 rebuilds, F22C rebuilds for guys S2Ks. As a matter of fact, I'll mention the guy again, Keyshawn Morton. I'm pretty sure it's Keys that has the S2000 down there in Miami that's pretty high power, putting down some good work. It's 500 plus horsepower. And the thing is with that though, and I asked him, I was like, bro, I don't know anybody personally who's done this the rebuild for an S2K except you. So what pistons did you use? And he was like, stock. I was like, fuck, because I'm looking at this whole FRM sleeve shit, and I just wanted to get an extra opinion. And he said the same thing. He goes, look, they say the mall is the piston to go with, but when I'm looking at the pictures and everything, it doesn't really look very healthy to me. And that's the same thing I can come to. So when you're dealing with FRM sleeves, the only thing I can say is roll the fucking dice, or chance it. But there is a good chance that even if it's healthy, that the F22 or the H22's FRM sleeves are going to wear a little bit faster over time than say a B series would. So I can't really tell you that the FRM sleeves that go with mall, because I can't really say that the mall looks any much different from what I saw with the JE pistons. But that's not going to stop JE, Wiseco, and all these other guys from selling it. Plus, there's the whole thing with going with aftermarket sleeves. And personally, you guys know that have watched me for a long time that I don't think that aftermarket sleeves is something I would do, because that's a really big investment. Now, I know that there's supposed to be some liners that you could do, like drop in, plug and play. And from what I was seeing online there, it was like $300 fucking dollars to do this. But, the guy that I said from the original forum that I read who tracked his build did that. He did a replacement sleeve, where they were just drop in and shit, and it wasn't, it still had that same kind of effect. Now, you'd have to completely re-sleeve like Dart, LA, RS machines, shit like that, if you want to be 100% guaranteed with a good mind that whatever fucking pistons you're going to use aren't going to eat up the block. But then that would make this a really complicated and expensive build. So, what I would say the easiest way to go about dealing with this situation to get around the whole FRM sleeve thing is to go with F22 single cam block or the F23 single cam block. And personally, I would say the F23 block would be the way to go. Bigger displacement, and I'm not sure if the F22 and the F23 share the same stroke. It's been a while since I checked those numbers, but the F23 has a longer stroke, and it shares the same. Well, I don't know, I might be lying there, but it's an 86 millimeter bore, which will make it compatible with some other pistons that'll, if you want to stay NA. But, of course, I'm not really talking about NA at this point. I'm talking about swapping out for forged internals. So, yeah, I think the easiest and most cost-effective way to get around the whole forged internals H22 situation is to go with the F23 single cam block. Or you can use the F20B. That is also compatible. The H22 head and the F20B head are the same, except for the F20B head. Head has the Euro R cams, which are effectively the Type S cams from the Prelude. So the heads are the same. The blocks are different, of course. It's a smaller displacement. So you can use the F20B block instead, and they don't have FRM sleeves from what I remember from searching the other day. But you're dealing with a smaller displacement, so less torque. So I wouldn't recommend it necessarily unless you just happen to have one. So there's that. So definitely I would lean towards the F23 single cam block because you can get them for pennies. Even like now, like I know somebody or you know places you can get it from eBay shipped cheap. Even me, I'm considering doing it whenever the fucking funds become available. So it's not a bad idea. So yeah, overall, I can't really say whether Mall is better for the FRM than any of the other pistons you can get out aftermarket, and I won't recommend going with aftermarket sleeves unless you're purposely trying to build like a supercar, a super monster. But with that being said, too, I will re-mention what I went over in the how much horsepower stock and say that I think it's a safe bet that you could take the stock internal single H22 to 350 and keep it there indefinitely. You could probably touch on 400 wheel horsepower there and keep it there for a while as long as you don't fucking make any mistakes. But personally, I like to be able to have a little bit of error room in there, and I would say a 350 wheel horsepower stock block. If you don't fuck up too bad, you'll still have a running car. So with that being said too, guys, if you really want to fucking, you just want to throw a turbo kit on your H22 that you have, that's fine. 350 wheel horsepower, I don't see why it wouldn't last you forever. 400 if you really want to be ballsy about it. But anything past that I wouldn't try with it. If you really want to get the most out of your H, then go with the G. And I think tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the next video I do, well, actually, the next video I do in this little series, I'm going to do this little mini series of H and F. It'll be, I'll leave it up to you guys. You can put it in the comments. You want me to talk about the G23 next, or do you want me to talk about the F22C? Either one, I'm okay for. If you ask me to talk about the G next, it might take me a little longer than it will to get out the conversation on the F22C. So anyway, like I said, let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you got anything out of it. And check out the channel. I got plenty of videos there, more along the same lines as this. Some engine building tutorials, all that good stuff. If you happen to be new here and didn't see anything already, comment below and subscribe if you haven't. And peace. Thanks for watching.